President Biden is far better than Trump was, but is that enough? People didn't just elect Biden to get rid of a villain, right? They also wanted a champion. But that champion has yet to emerge. As I wrote in my column this Sunday, Democrats are staring down real danger. Crucial agenda items aren't getting done, and the administration is not only not moving quickly enough, they may not be communicating their most popular agenda items well enough either. According to a new CBS News YouGov poll, when respondents were asked what they know about Biden's Build Back Better plan, most Americans, about 6 in 10, said they know it'll cost about $3.5 trillion. About the same also answered that they know it will mean tax increases for high-income earners. But only about 10% said that they knew a lot of the specifics. 29% said that they didn't know what was in it at all. But it's not just Biden's Build Back Better plan that's in trouble. We're still not anywhere close to passing a voting rights bill. Police reform negotiations have officially broken down. The administration's handling of the Haitian immigrants was a failure, and COVID-19 is still killing far too many Americans than it should be killing. And as a result, Biden's approval rating is tumbling while his disapproval rating is rising. According to 538, about 44% of Americans now approve of Biden's handling of issues, the lowest level since he took office. Though support among black adults still remains high, it has dropped significantly. 57% say they strongly or somewhat strongly approve of Biden, but that's down from 85% in July. So, will Democrats be able to deliver and pass important agenda items as voters grow more and more impatient and disillusioned? Joining me now to discuss is the founder of the National Voter Protection Action Fund, Don Calloway. So, Don, how much trouble are the Democrats and Biden in right now?
Democrats and Biden are in very real trouble. We've got to pass an infrastructure and probably voting rights agenda between now and the end of the calendar year, because the way that the cadence of Washington, D.C. works is that next year, 2022, will largely be a do-nothing year because no leader on either side wants to put their members in the House up for controversial votes right ahead of the midterm elections. So really, we're down to the crunch line here it's down to crunch time in terms of the fourth quarter of this calendar year. But the reality of what you're seeing in Joe Biden's falling approval rating and his rising disapproval rating is a real disconnect between people who understand the power of the presidency and how it is shackled by Congress, and people who don't really fully grasp the inside baseball that you do and that your viewers do, and people who think that Joe Biden can really just get it all done because he is the president. There are a lot of people who understand that Joe Biden is doing everything he can, but that he's shackled by, unfortunately, not just a Republican Senate, but Senators Manchin and Sinema, who at this point need to ask themselves, are they really even Democrats? What I think Joe Biden has got to do to combat his slipping approval rating is get out there, sell his plan to the American people, i.e. Barack Obama in 2009, when he went out on the stump, he used the bully pulpit, which is the most powerful tool Joe Biden has, and you get out there and you sell your agenda. And by the way, Joe Biden, if you can't do it, or if you're too busy to do it or tired to do it, then get Kamala Harris out there. She is uniquely positioned as a historic vice president to get out there and sell the Build Back agenda to the American people. And I have not personally seen enough of that. And that is how they can take that approval rating into their own hands and pull it up out of the mud.
Let's talk about the inability to sell it. Support for the principles that are in the Build Back Better plan, like lowering prescription drug prices, Medicare coverage for dental and eye and hearing, paid family leave, are high, but many Americans say they don't actually know what's in Biden's plan. Whose fault is that?
It's a broad failing of the American system. First of all, I can say that it's on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for not getting out there and selling it to the American people. But at the same time, we have to remember that a global pandemic is still on, and they should be modeling the behaviors of not traveling when not necessary, not getting with large crowds of people when not necessary. So they're doing right by that, but I still would like to see more robust
Oh,
public.
Don, Air Force One is a bubble. Air Force One is a bubble. Like, so they can travel Air Force One. It is not a problem.
Air Force One is a bubble, but you got to go to Sheboygan, Wisconsin, to the Union Hall, and to large crowds of people like Trump did. He doesn't care. He continues to have his super spreaders like he did in Iowa this past weekend. But you have Air Force One is a bubble. But
Joe Biden did a whole campaign. Joe Biden did a whole campaign where he had people pulling up like they were in drive-in movie theaters. You can be on the road. He showed us he can be on the road and be safe.
That's just one thing. I give you. So again, I was not going to excuse their entire lack of ability to sell this thing for that. The other problem, and Charles, we've talked about this before, as you have me on, you will continue to see a recurring pattern that I'm calling out. Democrats continue to cater to this middle of the road, middle class, suburban American white voter who is probably not going to be with us. And we continue to shy away from things like a $3.5 trillion price tag. And we continue to shy away from things like robust public infrastructure spending when we shouldn't. We should be embracing it and saying, you know what? The only way this country has ever been saved from the brink of economic collapse was with robust public infrastructure spending that is broadly for the public good. And that was okay. That was not something that was the topic of political debate until integration, right? Until those public dollars started going towards the utility of Black people. Heather McGhee writes a great book about it over my shoulder. It's called The Sum of All of Us, The Sum of Us, which is—
I love that book.
It's a great book, and that's exactly what it's about. Robust public infrastructure spending for the public good to stimulate the economy was never a bad thing until integration happened. And
Don,
now
we're out of time.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry to cut in. We're out of time. I know you get on a roll and you just go. But Don Calloway, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.